What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Quintiverse. My name is Quinn, and today we are diving into one of the biggest debates in racing games right now: Mario Kart World versus Sonic Racing CrossWorlds. Now, let me tell you guys something. I played both games. I've raced through some of their best tracks. I've seen what each game brings to the table, and not only do they bring the nostalgia, but they also bring the creativity and the chaos. Now, Mario Kart World is a classic Nintendo experience. I mean, it's polished, fun, instantly recognizable series, but Sonic Racing CrossWorlds, man, that game took me by surprise. It's fast, flashy, and it looks like Sega finally developed one of the best Sonic Racing games that caught everybody's attention, And now in this video, I'm breaking down both games. I'm going to be giving my honest review on Mario Kart World, my honest review on Sonic Racing CrossWorlds, and I'm going to be talking about why I think Sonic actually comes out on top, I'm going to be talking about just my experience as a whole, and what's holding Mario Kart World back from reaching the success that it should have gotten, So, buckle up. This one's going to get competitive. And before that, I encourage each and every one of you to hit that like button. Greatly helps out the channel. Also, make sure you hit the subscribe button as well. Turn on that bell for all notifications so you guys will know either when I'm uploading or streaming. Follow me on social media. That's Twitter, aka X, and Instagram for all kinds of update and so much more on the Quintiverse channel. So you'll know when I'm about to record something, when I'm about to stream something. You will be updated on social media. Okay, whew. Let's get into this right now. Woo! So, I want to start this video off by talking about my view on Mario Kart World, and personally, there is a lot to talk about when it comes to this game, and I want to start out with the positives first, So, overall, I think this is a fun game. I definitely enjoy a lot of the tracks it has to offer, especially Rainbow Road. Let me tell you guys something. Rainbow Road in Mario Kart World might be the best Rainbow Road we have ever gotten in the entire Mario Kart series. I'm serious, I know it's debatable, but that was a beautiful track. That was a beautiful track, And also, there are modes in the game like Knockout Tour that was such a fantastic addition. I like the concept. It's like an eliminator, basically, Basically, in the mode, you, out of, I believe, 16, maybe more players, are right now going to race from one track to the next. You're going to race through several different tracks. And every time you hit a finish line, you have to be at a certain place or above, or else you'll be eliminated, Now, it added the competitive edge, the competitive mode that Mario Kart was needed for a long time. It needed a mode more than Grand Prix. It needed a mode, something that we can actually just try to be competitive towards, something that we can actually sink our teeth into. And I believe Knockout Tour is that mode, And another thing I like is the character selection. Listen, and I know that's debatable as well, but I think it's really cool that Nintendo gave a lot of minor characters a chance to shine. Like, you should have seen the people who were watching the Nintendo Direct cheer when they saw the cow on the screen. That right there is a plus. Seeing all the new racers in this lineup just makes the roster feel more alive, You don't even have to play as Mario, Luigi, Peach, Bowser, or whatever. You can just simply play as someone like a crab, the dolphin, the cow, like I said, the Goomba, the Koopa, something like that, That is what great character selection looks like right there. Another positive about Mario Kart World is the soundtrack. Let me tell you guys something. Mario Kart World has one of the best soundtracks, if not the best soundtrack I have heard in any Mario game. The tracks in this game are based on classic Mario themes from older titles, and every time I hear them, I get instantly hit with pure nostalgia, And Nintendo decided to remix some of those older themes and put them all in the game, and that was a fantastic idea. One of my favorite themes that I actually liked that they put in the game was Mario. This was a Super Mario Land theme. I love that theme. I love that theme so much just because I used to play Super Mario Land on the Game Boy all the time. Literally, my eyes would be glued to the screen, and just hearing that just brought me back. It brought me back just because not only did it remind me how much I played that game, but it just reminded me how long I've been a Mario fan in general. My commentary is not that good, bro. But okay, I'll try to make it better. But it's just so good to even listen to the soundtrack while I'm at work sometimes. I can't help it. I have a computer job, so I'll just put music literally, whether it's from my phone or my computer, I'll just put music on and then I'll be in the zone working. You know what I mean? I'll find it on YouTube and just let it play. And it's just such a great tribute to the Mario legacy as a whole. And it's one of the stronger parts of the game, you know what I mean? And it's not just one music. You go ahead and listen to the entire soundtrack. It's so good. So good, you know what I mean? And yeah, we're going to move on to the open world concept. And listen, it got mixed feelings, you know what I mean? The open world concept as a whole got mixed feelings, and I don't blame the fans. But personally, I thought it was a great idea on paper, you know what I mean? The open world was so well designed visually, you know, it's ambitious, and I definitely respect that. You know, Mario Kart has never been an open world game, and when they basically released that Mario Kart World would be more open world, I was like, okay, let's give this a shot, you know what I mean? Let's give this a shot. And like, it still is just a great concept in general, you know what I mean? Like, all the levels are connected, and literally there's a passageway that you can get from the levels to Rainbow Road, which is also very cool. I like that they tried something new, and I hope they keep doing that, especially when they develop more Mario Kart games in the future, you know what I mean? But unfortunately, this is where my excitement started to fade, you know what I mean? As much as I wanted to love Mario Kart World and to keep playing it over and over, I gotta admit, the game feels unfinished, you know what I mean? Almost bare bones. It started off exciting, but after a while, it just feels dull and empty, you know what I mean? Like, I pre-ordered it with my Nintendo Switch 2. It came with the Nintendo Switch 2, so luckily I got it for like $50. But like, after playing it for a few weeks, I realized the game doesn't have much depth, and it's so sad because I was hyped on day one to play this game, you know what I mean? Like, take free roam mode, for example. It feels like it wasn't fully developed, you know what I mean? Now, you just do challenges, collect medallions, and explore the open world map, and that's good, but I feel like there should have been more, you know what I mean? It feels like the whole game is just wasted potential because they easily could have added a story mode or more interactive mission to make it worthwhile. I actually, you know, it's kind of funny here. I actually went over a story mode, like a story mode idea with my wife. I feel like what they could have done is you select one of the characters in the menu before you go to story mode. Like, you can select any of the minor characters, so you don't play as Mario, Luigi, and any of the main characters. You gotta select the minor characters, and with those minor characters, you can go all around the open world map, challenging the main characters like Mario, Luigi, Bowser, Donkey Kong, all of them, to a race. You can challenge them all to a race. Maybe you can hold Grand Prix tracks on them. You know what I mean? It's a great interactive way. It's cool. Imagine playing a minor character and you're just challenging all the major characters until you unlock Rainbow Road. And maybe the final level could be like you need to beat all the major characters on the highest difficulty in Rainbow Road, and you have to get first place. There's so much they could have done with this, and that's just off the top of my head. I told that to my wife the other day. You know what I mean? I'm gonna calm down here because, like, it just reminds me of how much this game just has to offer, and or should have had to offer, as I say, you know what I mean? And then there's the intermission tracks. Listen, there has been so many people who's been just turned off by this, you know what I mean? Like, I've seen a lot of people divided on these because there are some people who do like the intermission tracks, and that's fine. And I get it. They're not terrible, but they're not great either, you know? Like, you're basically driving in a straight line from one track to the other with very little going on in between, you know? I just feel like Nintendo should have added a full-blown option to turn intermission tracks off, you know what I mean? Especially online, because that's when people like the game more. Now apparently according to a lot of YouTubers, it's getting better with updates, you know what I mean? And I have seen that actually. I have actually seen it with updates myself. But they really, from the start, should have just had this option set, which would have saved them a lot of grief. It would have saved them a lot of just unnecessary hate that would have went to the game. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It just feels like they really tried to force this new idea on just players, and that right there hurt the replayability. You know what I mean? Some people just want to do the three lap tracks. I mean, some people love 3-lap tracks. It's been here the entire time, so why basically change it? You know what I mean? And I'm not saying intermission tracks should have never been here, but I'm saying it should have been an option on all the modes. It should have been an option. Because if you want to play casually, then maybe the intermission tracks are for you. But if you want to play competitively, then you probably want to turn those off. You know what I mean? And that's just my view on it. Because of that, a lot of players, including myself, are going back to Mario Kart 8. You know what I mean? And honestly, I can't blame anyone for it. 8 Deluxe just feels more competitive, more fast-paced, more creative. And Nintendo really put their thinking caps on when it comes to designing its tracks, you know what I mean? Both the original and the booster course content. You know, Mario Kart World, on the other hand, just went for a more realistic, like, tone, you know what I mean? It went for a more realistic tone, which kind of stripped away a little bit of the magic, you know what I mean? And don't get me wrong here. Mario Kart World is not a bad game by any means. I mean, there's fun to be had with this. There's a lot of people still enjoying it, which is awesome. I haven't played it in a while, but I'm just saying there are a lot of people still playing it. But for me personally, it just didn't live up to the hype that Mario Kart 8 Deluxe set. You know what I mean? The potential was there, but Nintendo just didn't tap into it. And it made it even worse when Mario Kart World was priced at $80, and Nintendo, to this day, has not explained why that game cost so much. Which is a shame, because a lot of people, like myself, were disappointed not only by the price, but by the fact that this game didn't live up to the price, you know what I mean? People in Nintendo, like the president Doug Bowser, or former president, I know he's retiring, but Doug Bowser went on stating that the game is worth $80 and you gotta play it to see. I'm still waiting. He lied, basically. But it made it look like Nintendo just released an unfinished product, you know what I mean, and wanted to charge people extra for it, you know what I mean? And maybe the game could improve over time through updates or maybe DLC, but after paying $80 for it, it's hard to believe players will be eager to put more money into it. But that's just me, you know what I mean? Now, I want to talk about the flip side, which is Sonic Racing CrossWorlds, you know what I mean? Now, I gotta admit, the game genuinely surprised me. It surprised me because, believe it or not, I was never really a big fan of the Sonic Racing game before, you know what I mean? And it's funny because I'm a huge Sonic fan in general. Like, I usually will jump in on any mainline Sonic game out there, and there are some spin-offs I would jump to as well, you know what I mean? But the racing titles never really clicked to me. As a matter of fact, the only Sonic Racing games I've ever played before this were Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transforms and Sonic Riders, you know? Both were fun in their own way, but they didn't keep me hooked, so I wasn't expecting much from CrossWorlds until I saw that first trailer. And I'm not gonna lie, that reveal caught my attention instantly, you know what I mean? The visuals, the speed, the energy, it just felt like Sega was releasing their upcoming masterpiece, and they were like, yeah, the hype is real. And then Sega dropped the open network test, which let everyone play one Grand Prix Cup and then test online racing. And that was a smart move, you know, because it gave a lot of people, including myself, a real taste of how the game was played before launch, you know what I mean? And I've got to say, the gameplay was absolutely amazing. I mean, even in that early test, it just felt fast, polished, and just there's so much hype with that. And now that the game is fully out, it's still amazing. And it's wild to think about that because the last Sonic Racing game, Team Sonic Racing, didn't do so well. Like, there was a lot of YouTubers who said that the game wasn't that good. The reviews did not help it either, you know what I mean? But Sega clearly learned from that, and they wanted CrossWorlds to be a more comeback moment. A game that could finally rival the Mario Kart series. And you could tell Sega went in with a lot of confidence because they even made a full-on commercial for Sonic Racing CrossWorlds that straight up threw shade at Nintendo. And the commercial was very reminiscent of the old-school console war ads where Sega would proudly say, Sega does what Nintendo don't. I highly recommend checking out that ad if you guys haven't already. It's pure vintage Sega energy right there, you know what I mean? Now, let's talk about what makes this game really shine, which is the track system, you know what I mean? One of my biggest problems with Mario Kart was the intermission tracks, like I said. You know, the long and mostly empty stretches between races just dragged on. And CrossWorlds just take that concept and just added their own twist to it. I mean, they took that concept and just flipped it, basically. And here's how it works. Lap 1, you start on the track that you chose, of course, or the track that's on Grand Prix. Lap 2, a portal opens mid-race and you're teleported to a completely new track, chosen by the player in first place. So you can either get a random track or a track that they preset already for you, you know what I mean? And lap 3, you're basically teleported back in the original track for the final lap, you know what I mean? And it's such a cool mechanic because it keeps you racing dynamically and unpredictably, you know what I mean? You spend a lot of time on the track that you pick, but you also get a little glimpse into another world. like a mini crossover, for example. You know what I mean? Between tracks, it's fun, it's chaotic, and it's just really a great mechanic to get to know. You know what I mean? Another thing I really like about CrossWorlds is the rival interactions. And I know this might sound small, but I really do appreciate how the game gives us the main characters so much personality. I mean, they give the main characters a lot of personality like they should have through these moments. And it's generally funny to see these small cutscenes before the race comes out, you know what I mean? And these interactions don't just happen at the start of the race. They happen sometimes all throughout the Grand Prix. You know what I mean? When you're racing, you'll have a rival that you can interact with all throughout the events. And you even get dialogue from the other characters when you hit them with an item or if they hit you. You know, it's that kind of small touch that goes a long way and gives the game a lot of life and energy. And it actually reminds me a lot of how Mortal Kombat handled pre-fighting character dialogue. You know, it's not really too much comparable, but those little personality-driven exchanges just make every matchup feel special. You know what I mean? And some of the writing in CrossWorlds is surprisingly clever. And I like how some of the writing, some of the interactions actually tie to lore like the IDW Sonic comics, or they tie to lore of the previous mainline Sonic games. I mean, it's Sega basically going that extra mile. That right there I love. Now, let me talk to you guys about the customization. Let me talk to you guys about the customizations of the game. And I will start out by saying this. I will admit that in one of my live streams or reviews or something of Mario Kart World, I did mention that I like how Mario Kart World has a very simple customization. You know, it's straightforward. You pick a character, you choose a preset kart, and you're ready to start the race. You know what I mean? And you can see all the stats of that character mixed with that preset card. You know what I mean? I actually do appreciate that simplicity because it gets you to the action faster. But I got to just say, I really admire the level of customization that CrossWorld brings. I mean, not only can you choose your character and vehicle, but you can also choose the type of vehicle you want. Then customize it by changing its colors, adding designs, swapping parts, and so much more. You know what I mean? The character design, the customization, the kart customization or car customization, whatever you want to call it, goes a long way. You know what I mean? And it's great because it gives the player clear goals to work towards. It gives replayability. You can keep racing, earn the in-game currency, unlock parts, and consistently, improve your setup right there. And I'm not saying Mario Kart World doesn't have unlockables, it most certainly does. But CrossWorld just takes that system and gives it more of a purpose. Like, they want to let you know that if you want more just accessibility into the game, if you want more kart customizations, more gadgets, and so much more, you need to actually play the game and earn the currency, which is pretty good. And there's always something to chase, always something new to grind for. And it just makes the replay value just higher than it should be, I gotta say. And both games have their gimmicks, and that's fine. But it's about what kind of experience you want. Because after playing both, I gotta be honest, I definitely prefer CrossWorld's mechanic and everything that it brings to the table. Now, CrossWorld is not perfect by any means, but I just really enjoy what it does bring and how much effort that the developers of Sega actually brought into this game, you know what I mean? Now, for my last point, I just want to explain from my point of view why I think Sonic Racing CrossWorlds is a better game compared to Mario Kart World overall, you know what I mean? And before I go any further, I just want to say this. This is completely my opinion. If you think the other way around, I don't blame you at all. And honestly, more power to you. But at the end of the day, enjoy what you play. And I'm not dissing Mario Kart World at all. I do still think it's a good game. But when you compare the two, I gotta give it up to Sonic Racing CrossWorlds. And I'm gonna tell you guys why right now. You can probably chalk this up to recency bias if you want, but I think the biggest difference comes down to the creativity and energy that went into both games. You know, CrossWorlds just go above and beyond when it comes to introducing new tracks and mechanics. You know, the track designs and the CrossWorld portal mechanic just feels fresh. Like Sega is just trying something new, and they're trying something to not only introduce the tracks that can have reference to Sonic levels and stuff, but they're trying to introduce a new track system that completely blows their previous games out of the water, you know what I mean? And some people can argue that Mario Kart World's open world approach is new too, but here's the thing. Nintendo has dipped their toes in the open world mechanic pond plenty of times before. Look at games like Breath of the Wild, look at games like Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, look at games like Tears of the Kingdom. You know what I mean? Now, some people think that Super Mario Odyssey is open world, but That's not really open world since you have to go kingdom to kingdom, but you know what I mean. Those games nailed the open world design, but with Mario Kart World, it just feels like Nintendo left a lot of untapped potential, and I feel like they did. There's so much more that should have gotten into the game. Meanwhile, it just seems like Sega just put a little bit more effort and ambition into CrossWorlds, and there's just more to do, more to unlock, and just gives more of a real sense of a challenge, you know. And you can unlock new customizable parts of your cart. You can also unlock gadgets, which can alter how you play in the races. You can start out with a boost. You can even have like maybe an advantage going into the race that lasts throughout the entire thing. They have new Grand Prix modes, and just even build your own racing strategy, which is great. It gives people a reason to play again and again and again. And sure, Mario Kart World has unlockables like characters and costumes, and I actually enjoy collecting those. But things like the medallion and the free roam challenges just feel more like filler than progression, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like the medallions, for example, would have been best suited in a story mode where it gave you, like, maybe you can collect a lot of medallions, and once you go to a character, like say you're a minor character and you collect a lot of medallions and you want to go race in Luigi's Raceway, you know what I mean? You probably wouldn't need a certain number of medallions or coins or something to enter into this race. That gives people goals. This gives people a reason to just stay in free roam mode and collect and play. You know what I mean? It gives people more of a purpose. You know, it just feels like, you know, there's not really any progression or any reason to 100% the game. You know what I mean? They're fun, but I don't think they really matter in the grand scheme of things. Maybe you think differently. That's okay. CrossWorlds, on the other hand, just make the progression feel more meaningful, in my opinion, of course. Now, like I say, I'm not saying that Sonic Racing CrossWorlds did everything right. You know what I mean? Mario Kart World definitely has some strengths as well. You know what I mean? Like, for example, I think the controls in Mario Kart World are a little bit more polished overall, and I think the character roster is arguably better than Mario Kart, better than Sonic Racing CrossWorlds. You know, they really went all out with the character roster, and I do like that. You know what I mean? And in the costume system, I did like that they wanted to give all the main characters their own costume system, which is pretty fun to collect. You know what I mean? And it just gives a lot of the characters in that game just more, I guess, well, quote-unquote character, if you want to call it that, but it's small, and it adds more fun, it adds more extra layer to the game, if you know what I mean. But even with all that said, I just think CrossWorlds just feels better to play. You know what I mean? The gameplay is more creative, and the presentation, Sega marketed the game so much that they wanted to let you know that we want to be the top racing game. You can play this other racing game right here from this company, or you can play our racing game and see what we got. You know, and Mario Kart World, by comparison, just feel like Nintendo just played it safe. Like, they didn't want to take too many risks. They didn't want to put too much into the game, you know what I mean? And if I'm being honest, it would make more sense to compare Sonic Racing CrossWorlds to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe instead of Mario Kart World, because at least 8 Deluxe just went that extra level when it comes to content and just creativity, you know what I mean? And I actually might make a full video on that in the future, you know? But for now, I'll say this. Like, both Sonic Racing CrossWorlds and Mario Kart are great racing games. They do a lot of great things, but at the end of the day, I just feel like CrossWorlds edges out Mario Kart World in terms of quality, energy, and ambition, you know what I mean? Okay guys, so that wraps up this video, and at the end of the day, both Mario Kart World and Sonic Racing CrossWorlds are good games in their own way. I know a lot of people have been hard on Mario Kart World, and honestly, I think it's pretty justified on account of how bare bones the game feels. Like I said earlier, it's a good game overall. I don't have any hate towards it. I just think it's a symbol of untapped potential. And I really believe Nintendo could have made this one of the best Mario Kart racing games ever. Maybe the best if they put more content into it. You know, or at least try to justify the $80 price tag. And it's kind of funny because we just saw the Kirby Air Riders second direct, and you can tell Sakurai, along with the other developers, are putting so much content in that game. They're putting so much content in that game. That second direct just made me want to grab a copy of Kirby Air Riders right now, and the game is not even out. You can tell that right now they're letting everyone know that Kirby Air Riders is going to be Nintendo's #1 racing game. And I just wish they gave that same level of attention and hype to Mario Kart World, you know what I mean? I just wish they gave that same level of hype, because Mario Kart World does have some great things going for it, you know? it's beautiful. The open world map looks fantastic. The soundtrack is beyond amazing. Don't even get me started again. And the new Knockout Tour is great. But when you realize it, there's not enough content to keep you from coming back. It just starts to feel empty, and it's like Nintendo was on their way to baking a masterpiece, but when they took it out of the oven too early, it's basically half-baked. It doesn't taste good, you know what I mean? It just tastes average. And look, I'm not going to hate on the game like some others have, or just bash the game saying that it's just an all-time low, or saying that Nintendo is basically just seriously going downhill, which you can argue that it is, that the company is, but listen, YouTubers have completely trashed this game and act like it's the worst game I've ever made, but I don't think that's true. I'm here to acknowledge that there's both good and bad in the game. You know, instead of just jumping on a negativity train and pretending that Nintendo just completely dropped the ball on this game, which in a way they have dropped the ball on this game, but I'm not going to say that it's just terrible to the point where nobody cares, you know what I mean? But when you look at CrossWorlds, it's the opposite story. You know, I felt like Sega really does care about this game and just cares enough to just put more creativity and just fire and ambition, you know. It's just something that Mario Kart World should have brought. And you can tell Sega poured their heart into this game, and they're proud of it too. Especially with how bold they've been taking shots at Nintendo. You know, do I think CrossWorld is perfect? Of course not. But I do think it's more exciting. They took more risk with the game, you know, they put more effort into the game between the two, and that's why I prefer it, you know what I mean? I actually been playing it more than Mario Kart World lately, and that says a lot. And I might change my tune when Kirby Air Riders come out, but you know what? For now, until we get any word from Kirby Air Riders, Sonic Racing CrossWorlds right now is the better racing game to play today, you know what I mean? And at the end of the day, though this is completely my opinion, it's all about what you enjoy. And if you love Mario Kart World, awesome. If you love Sonic Racing CrossWorlds, awesome. If you love both games and you play both games back to back, guess what? Awesome. The best part about gaming is that we all have different tastes and preferences, and that's what makes competition between two games so much fun, you know what I mean? But now I want to hear from you guys. Like, what do you guys think is a better racing game? Do you think it's Mario Kart World, or do you think Sonic's new racing game of CrossWorlds took that crown and are going to keep that crown? Or do you think Kirby Air Riders is going to swoop in and take that crown from both Mario and Sonic? Drop your thoughts down in the comments below. I would love to hear them. And as always, thank you guys so very much for watching. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Greatly helps our channel. Also, make sure you hit the subscribe button as well. Turn on the bell for all notifications so you guys will know either when I'm uploading or streaming. Follow me on social media. That's Twitter, aka X, and Instagram for so much content, updates, our new videos, stream schedules, and so much more. Woo! Woo! I'm completely pumped. Alright, I gotta go. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see all of you guys in the next video. I'll see you guys. God bless and have a great rest of your day.